The spreadsheet we're working on is the January 14 Level 2 Edexcel Pearson's Functional Skills IT past paper. I've actually got this Excel question up to, let me see where we are, we're on task 2D. I've just completed task 2D, so I've formatted the member worksheet so that it's clear and easy to understand. The reason I've got this far is because I want to demonstrate how to filter this table and also how to do a bar chart based on this table. So the first thing we need to look at is question part E of question 2 says to filter the table in the member workshop to show members under the age of 15. Now, filtering is over here with the sort option. And what filtering will do, if you imagine a coffee filter, it allows some stuff through and blocks other stuff. In our case, what we want to do is we want to be able to show just the information we want to show. If I click on the sort and filter button, these first three options are to do with sorting. There's already a video available on sorting that covers these. We're now going to look at the filter option. Oh, I've got this error because I haven't actually selected a range yet. So if I because the tiles and all the data are all there together, I can just click anywhere in that table, click on custom filter, and what that would do is, you see, it just figures out what the top row is. You always want your top row to be a header rather than data, because this row won't be including in any filter, so this will always be visible. We have to filter this by the age. So I'm going to look at the age here. If I click on this little down arrow here, what it'll do is it'll pop up a menu. We've got the option to sort that column by A to Z. It picks up the fact there's text in there, so it gives us the option of A to Z. If it were numerical values, it would say descending or ascending order. There's a sort by colour. That's we're not going to look at that. And then underneath here, we've got this text filters. So you could do a search for any cells that contain something or begin with a certain collection of letters or characters, and then underneath here you've got all the data in that column. Now down here on the bottom right, there's little three dots there. We can grab that and actually make that, extend that menu out a bit so you can see a bit clearly. At the moment, select all is ticked, which means obviously everything's selected, and then it just has a tick next to every value there. Obviously if there are duplicate values, they only show once here. Now we need to be able to show just the ones that are under 15, so anyone who's over 18 is not under 15, same for 17, 16, and this is one to watch out for because 15 is not under 15, so we don't want to see those over. So the only ones we actually want to see are the ones that actually are under 15, so 10's under 15, 11's under 15, 12, 13 and 14 are all under 15, 15 is not under 15, 15 is not less than 15. So the tick shows which ones are going to be seen, so if I click on OK, we now have a filtered table. This can be really useful if we wanted to drill down into a big data set. We could use this to look for all sorts of things. For this example, I'm just going to concentrate on doing this one thing. Okay, because the main focus of this is to do to answer the next question, which is to use your filtered list to create a suitable chart to show the members under the age of 15. Identify each member by their surname, format the chart so that it is clear and easy to read, save the chart as a separate worksheet. So the first thing I need to decide is what sort of chart am I going to do. Generally, if they want you to do a pie chart, they'll say create a pie chart, or they will ask you to create a chart showing percentages. If they don't ask you to do either of those things, then you're going to be doing a simple bar chart. The bar chart may have one or more columns per data point, but I'll go through and show you how to do that now. The question asks us to create a chart to show the members under the age of 15. So the first thing we need is the members, obviously. And it says identify each member by their surname. So let's select the surnames. And now I want to select the members. It just doesn't give me any extra information there. So if I think this through logically, I'm going to need to select some numbers because I've already got data range selected. That's going to be the descriptions for my columns or bars. I can't use membership because that's just junior. If I use membership fee, they're all £10, so it wouldn't be a very useful chart. So logically, that leaves me one other thing to go for. Normally, the questions aren't as tricky as that. They normally give you two things. Normally they would say, show the member's name and age in a chart. We've deduced from this that we need to include age. Now, if I try to select age, it automatically deselects my previous selection, so that's a bit of a pain. So what we're going to do here is select the first thing, and then we're going to add to our selection. To add to the selection, we have to hold down the control key while we've already got something selected. Click, drag, let go of the mouse, let go of the control key. We're doing this because these are separate data areas. So if, for instance, I'd needed to select this and this, I could have just dragged across the rectangle like that, would have been fine. Because they're non-adjacent, i.e. they're not next to each other, I have to do that. Control, click, drag down, let go of the mouse button, let go of the control key. So I've now got 6 text elements or descriptions and 6 values. So my chart should make sense. If I haven't got the same number of elements there, then there's going to be problems. So let's go to our chart. We're going to insert on the top here, and we're going to look for our chart section. Now, there are recommended charts. I would say for the exam, don't use the recommended charts. We just want to produce the simplest chart we can. If we start adding things in by default because we're using recommended charts, we may include things that we don't need to include, or maybe make it less easy and clear to read. So we've decided we want a bar chart. If it had been a pie chart, we could have used this option down here, but we're going for a bar chart. I tend to use column charts, so I could use a column chart or a bar chart, and I stick with the 2D column or 2D bar chart. That's all we need for this. Okay, so I've clicked on that 2D bar chart, column chart, and now I've got a chart. On the question, it also says, format the chart so it's clear and easy to read. Save the chart as a separate worksheet. Now, for this exam, I would do this as a matter of default. It's just automatically getting the habit of doing this. When we first create the chart, I haven't clicked anywhere else, so it defaults to switching to chart design mode. So this is selected up here, chart design. And what we've got here is a move chart option. If we click on that, we then get this move chart window. By default, it selects object in member, and if we click on that, it will allow us to basically move the object to a different sheet. We don't want to do that. We want to actually create a new sheet, and we're going to give it a meaningful name, so we're going to call it column chart. We could have called it members by age chart or something like that, but column chart is fine. Click on OK, and that will create a new chart, new sheet, and the sheet's got the name that we gave it in that input box. If for any reason you've forgotten to put a name in there and it comes up with chart 1, or you've made a typing error, you can just double click on there and retype it. You can rename it from there just by typing and then pressing enter. And if you want to get rid of this chart altogether, you can just right click and delete. It'll ask you if you want to delete it. I'm going to delete it because I'm going to show you another way of moving that chart. So I'm going to insert the chart. I'm doing the same thing. Insert, selecting a column chart. Now, previously I showed you to move it by using this button. Sometimes if you've clicked on things and you do that, for instance, that option's no longer there, so you may not remember how to get back to it. So the easiest thing to do in that case is just click on the top right or top left of the chart. And the reason I'm clicking up there is so that I don't accidentally select any of the elements of the chart. So I want to just get a blank area of the chart. Right click, you may have to do it twice. And then on this menu you've got the move chart option, which is exactly the same. So I'm going to go to new sheet. I'm going to call it column chart again. And click on OK. So there's two different ways of moving that chart over. Now we've got the chart, you can see we've got some numbers down the left. These numbers are the range of values that we had in our selection, and the names of the members down here. Okay, we need, in any sort of two-dimensional bar chart or column chart like this, we must have labels that describe what these values are and labels that describe what these values are, as well as a title. At the moment we don't have any axis titles, so we're going to add those in. We can add them in by going to chart elements and selecting axis titles, which just puts both in. Okay, and if we don't have a chart title, we could click on it there. And depending on the chart, this is not too bad actually. The bars or columns are quite well spaced out and they're not very close to each other. If you had a lot of columns and they were close to each other, you probably wouldn't do this. But in this case, I can add data labels because they enhance the chart. We don't have really long values that are overlapping and running into the next column, so that's fine. We don't want to add a data table or error bars or a legend or a trend line. We want it as simple as possible. Okay, so I've had that. I want to get rid of this now, so I'm going to click on the plus there. So I've got an axis title here, and what am I going to put in my axis title? Let's have a quick look. The thing to do here is to refer back to the question. The question says to show the members under the age of 15. So one of the things I was selecting was the members. So I'm just going to put members. And the other one was the age. Now, this actually is a bit of an odd question because it doesn't anywhere in the question say whether they're years. We assume it's years. So I'm going to write years in there. You must always specify what your units are. If it's not obvious, if it doesn't have a pound sign or something like that, if it's not obvious, you should always put your unit in your axis tile. And in my chart tile, which is going to be members under the age of 15. And that's come from the question. I looked at the question, it says use your filtered list to create a suitable chart to show the. Usually they're worded like that. The bit after that says members under the age of 15. Okay, that's the minimum title I can have. You might want to add the name of the organisation, for instance. So let's have a quick look who this is. This is Grange Literary Society, they're called. So I could say, change that to a lowercase m because I don't want an M, a capital in the middle of my thing. So I could say Grange Literary Society. And you notice I'm capitalising it and put capital letters in front of Grange Literary Society. That's because it's a proper noun, it's the name of an organisation. So you need to make sure that you're copying that from the question to make sure you've got the capitals right. I'm not using capitals here, just at the beginning. And another important thing is titles and bullet points, you don't have a full stop at the end. You know, it's no full stops, so we don't need to put a full stop in there. Okay, so I've done that. One thing I would always do as well is make this look like a title. So we're going to just click on that. Now, to edit my text in Excel, I have to go on the Home tab. So I go back to Home and I can see my familiar formatting options here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the font size by 2, or 2 sizes by clicking on that twice. And then, as a matter of habit when I'm doing these, I make it bold, italic and underline. Just for the title, I'm not going to put colour around it or under it or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it like that. It's all I need to do. I also always get in the habit of just changing these axis titles, because sometimes if you've got numbers here, or more columns for instance, it might be that this members is the same text style as these and you can get confused whether it's actually part of the data or a title. So I want to make that stand out, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do exactly the same thing as I did before, bold, italic, but I'm not going to underline it. And I'm going to do the same for that. 2, bold, italic, not underlined. Okay, and now that's very clearly stands out from here, but it's not as big as the title, so it's not confusing anyone that it's the title of the document. And that's how you perform or create a simple, what I'd call a 2-column chart. There are issues around multiple column charts, but I'll cover those in a separate video.